All right, ladies and gentlemen. So it's another great day to spotlight another coin. It's a great day to coin collect. If you guys ever done something like this, we're looking for some pretty interesting, maybe a valuable coin in your change. You never know what kind of rarity you're going to come across. So I've been asked a few times by a few patrons, Blue Ridge. I've got a whole bunch of 1980s Washington quarters, that I've had since I was a kid. Are they worth anything? All right, I get this all the time. I remember living in the 80s. These Washington quarters were coming out, and they were all neat and new, and this was kind of like the beginning of the what they call spaghetti hair age. I mean, it's really easy to see exactly why they call it the spaghetti hair. Just take a look at the coin, the partial coin that you see on the screen here before you. But this was a new design feature, I guess, that we would be pretty much used to till the end of the State Quarter series, until the overall design and the dies were reworked. So that way it didn't look too spaghetti-like. So, yes, 1980s Washington quarters. Certainly, there are a few coins to look out for. Today, we're going to take a look at one specific date, 1988. I've actually never spotlighted any 1988 coins with exception of the Lincoln cent. There's a couple really notable varieties for that particular denomination. But if you have a 1988 Washington quarter, and it either looks interesting or it looks to be in really good condition, then I'm happy to say you might have something there. So, as always, with these spotlight videos, okay, we talk about the coins, how many were minted, what do you need to know about high grades, where are they worth, if that's your thing. In addition to any varieties or errors that you may find for this particular date. Now, above all other 1980s dated quarters, I would say 87, 88, and 89 have a lot of challenge to them. These coins were pretty well struck, but the overall quality of a newly minted late 80s quarter left a little bit to be desired. All right, so that's where the challenge comes in, and it's very reflective on the price guide values of said coins. So, go ahead and strap in your seatbelt, grab a cup of coffee or tea, and let's go ahead and get started. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Your extra bit of support goes a long way during these tough times. All right, so without further ado, we're going to talk about the business strike coins first. Okay, there's going to be no proof strikes in here, as you guys know. Proof struck coins are special strikes that were made and intended for the collectible market. They were only available for purchase to the U.S. Mint directly, but the coins that were made for circulation is what is normally referred to as business strikes. So the Philadelphia Mint and Denver Mints both produced their fair share of business strike coins. Okay, these coins circulated quite a bit. Finding one in a pretty nice mint state condition, that's a really high grade, if you don't know, can be a little bit challenging. All right, and then finding one with clean surfaces kind of adds a little bit of extra rarity to the mix. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started with the 1988 Philadelphia Minted Washington Quarter. You do have a little letter P right here behind this little hair tie doodad on Washington's hair. So that's how you know that you have a Philadelphia minted coin. Now, in terms of mintage, okay, there was no shortage of these puppies. A lot of them were produced, and even today, you would find quite a few of these in your change. 562,052,000 pieces in total were produced at the Philadelphia facility. Now, the one big draw with this coin, again, like I had mentioned at the beginning of the video, is certainly grade. All right, typically, you would send off coins to a grader if and only if you have maybe an old coin that you wanted to preserve. It didn't matter if it was a problem coin with like damage or anything like that, or maybe it's a key date. It's really hard to say. But normally, you would grade out a modern coin for just one specific reason, and that's to achieve the top highest possible grade. All right, that's where you're going to see a lot of the big dollar value associated with these newer coins. I would say anything post 1950 would certainly fall under this category. Now, there are a couple notable graders you could use. PCGS, NGC are the top two. You also have Annex, which is great as kind of like, if you wanted to attribute a variety or a Civil War token or any other token for that matter, they're fantastic and they're affordable. And then there are a few others. But for this video, we are going to be focusing on the big dog, and that's PCGS. Say what you want to say about them. They are the go-to company in terms of grading moderns, and a lot of the value is associated with these coins in PCGS slabs. Now, for the 1988 Philadelphia Washington quarter, the top assigned grade of this coin is Mid-State 67, in which there are 4 examples that were assigned that grade by PCGS. However, on screen, you have an NGC graded coin. It is the only one that I can find in the 67. Out of the 4 that exist through PCGS, none have entered the market. Now, there is no known sales of a PCGS Mid-State 67, but it's worthwhile to know that PCGS has put a price guide value of $3,250 on this coin. All right, if you were to find one and it grades out a 67, they'll add to the population numbers, and you turn around and sell it, you can expect somewhere around $3,250. It could be a lot higher, it could be a lot lower. It really depends. But that's how much they deem the value of that coin. So that's quite a bit of money. If grading moderns is your thing, and it's not for the faint of heart, by the way, then you might want to give that a shot. So the other business strike coin we are going to look at is going to be the Denver Mint. Okay, and on this one, you have a letter D here in the same position as you would see on the Philadelphia. All right, there's really nothing starkly different. Okay, I would say during this period of coinage, both the Philadelphia and Denver Mints produced equally good quality coins. All right, where you're going to find the issues is overall planchet quality, quality control in general, keeping in mind that they were producing millions of these. As a matter of fact, for the Denver Mint example, 596,810,688 pieces were produced, okay, and they were all produced in rapid succession. They were coming out of the striking chamber and they were just firing away into a hopper, all the coins clanging and banging up against each other. So finding one that is mark-free or, exhibits no nicks or bag marks can be challenging, okay, and again, that's reflected on the grade of these coins. So the top grade example of a 1988 D is Mid-State 67 Plus, in which only one lone example exists at that high grade level. Now this one right here is a PCGS Mid-State 67. Okay, it's a really nice, decent grade for the coin. Now decent in the sense that this was probably the top grade at one point. But if it wasn't for that 67 Plus, this would be an absolute monster of a coin. So the 167 Plus never made it out into the marketplace. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure it is holed up in a registry set somewhere that it will stay for quite a long time until someone finds the next Plus designation. Now PCGS has a price guide value of 5,000 cool dollars on this coin, ladies and gentlemen. So it is definitely worthwhile looking for, if and only if you are confident that you have found probably the cleanest, most perfect 88D out there today. Kind of hard to say, and they are tough to find. Now, in terms of die varieties like doubled dies, RPMs, transitionals, for 1988 there were no known major die varieties, but keep in mind that can all change. All right, this is a date where you can find RPMs, doubled dies. Okay, it's only going to take one notable discovery to really change things. Okay, so make sure you take a look at every coin, and if you find something interesting, put it aside and let the experts weigh in. Now, errors, okay, along the same kind of like wavelength as varieties are few and far between. Like I said, the quality was a little bit better. They just really didn't screw up that much for 1988. So this is also kind of like another challenge area for a lot of you. Try and find a really notable 1988 Washington quarter error, and you might have something that's pretty valuable. Now, all 5 coins I was able to find, okay, come from Heritage Auctions and Great Collections. So both of those respective companies get all the image credits, obviously, for every coin on here. We're going to go ahead and start out with this example that you see on screen. This is a 1988 Philadelphia example. This one has a broad strike error. Okay, so the coin was minted with the absence of a collar, all right? So this one wouldn't have any of the reading. As you can tell, the coin looks like it was kind of smashed out and all that extra metal came pouring out the sides. Nothing to really contain it in to the size of a quarter. Now this one right here is an annex graded mint state 63, and this one sold for only 15 bucks. But it is also worth noting that it sold back in 2006 on Heritage Auctions. All right, a time in which, you know, coin collecting wasn't really back to prominence. It was only until about the recession time, 08, 09, where things really began to take off. Okay, this right here would be a much valuable coin as a result. The next coin that we have here is another Philadelphia. This one here is a pretty nice off-center error. This is an Annex Mint State 63 coin. It is off-center about 25%. You have a fully legible date and mint mark, which are 2 kind of like key components for off-center collectors. Now this one right here, much like the first coin, sold for $69, but keep in mind this one sold in 2007 on Heritage Auctions. Again, a much different landscape when it comes to coin collecting. This coin would be worth quite a bit more money today because there's just a whole lot more collectors out there in that base. So, something to keep in mind. Okay, the next error that we have here, this is an interesting one. So the next 3 are all from Great Collections. This is another Philadelphia minted example. This one exhibits a partial collar error. All right, so this one right here, as you can tell, looks like it might be just a hair off center, but the collar wasn't completely seated all the way to kind of like shore up that one right side of the quarter. So as a result, you do have a little bit of the extra material kind of squishing out there. In addition, if you look at the edge, it has something called a railroad rim. All right, so you're going to see kind of like the rim wasn't completely struck up to show all the reading. It's a pretty interesting coin. This one is an Annex Mint State 63, and it sold for $18.02, April of 2018 on Great Collections. Pretty nice coin. All right, we got a couple more errors. How about another off-center example? This is another Philadelphia. They all seem to come from the Philadelphia Mint. This one is an Annex Mint State 63. This one is not as dramatic as the other one that we saw earlier. Call it late, maybe 8 to 10% off-center. But this one right here sold for $22.11, April of 2018 on GC. And then finally, the last error of the bunch is going to be another coin that is not quite spectacular, but it's worth noting that this one is another Philadelphia error. This one is struck off-center by a small bit, probably like 4 or 5% at the most. But as you can see, this one is a little bit higher grade, and this one is also graded by a different grader. This is an NGC Mint State 64. This one sold for $31.26, June of 2014 on Great Collections. So, that's it. Lots of challenging stuff to look for on this particular date. Again, there's one like huge error out there, I'm sure, that will break things wide open. Errors are very, very rare to find for this particular date of coin. Usually I have lots of success finding like a double denomination or something wild like that. It's worth like $1,000. But for this date, it just wasn't meant to be. That's how crazily rare and unique this particular date is. Again, look out for varieties. And there hasn't been any notable top graded coins that have showed up in the marketplace. Could you be the first one to find that example? Well, it was certainly a pleasure. I hope you guys enjoyed this video on the 1988 Washington quarters. Thank you for watching. As always, like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell for instant notifications. And as always, Coinaholics, I am Sean with BlueRidgeSilverhound. We are discovering together. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You guys take care, and I will see you on the next big treasure hunt.